The Poisoned Silence of Bibury, Chapter 1. The Quiet Town. Bibury was the kind of town where doors were left unlocked, and neighbors greeted each other with warm smiles. Its cobbled streets and stone cottages painted a postcard-perfect image, but beneath its charm lingered secrets no one dared whisper. Alice Morgan lived on Lavender Lane, a stretch of peaceful homes where everyone knew everyone. She worked as a florist, arranging vibrant bouquets at the local flower shop. Her best friend, Clara Winslow, was the town's golden girl, smart, elegant, and adored by all. Clara had recently landed a prestigious job in London, but often returned to Bibury for visits, much to Alice's dismay. Alice had grown up in Clara's shadow. From childhood through adulthood, Clara always seemed to outshine her, in school, in relationships, and even in the affections of their neighbors. Though she wore a smile, Alice harbored a growing bitterness. Chapter 2. The Seeds of Envy. One sunny afternoon, Clara returned to Bibury for a weekend visit. The townspeople were thrilled, organizing a small gathering in her honor. Alice hosted the tea party in her garden. As the guests chatted and laughed, Alice watched Clara with tight-lipped politeness. Clara, as usual, was charming, unaware of the storm brewing inside her friend. After the guests left, Clara stayed behind to help Alice clean up. They sipped tea under the lilac tree, sharing memories. That night, Clara complained of stomach pain. By morning, she was dead. The town mourned. The cause of death was declared poisoning, and suspicion fell on the reclusive elderly couple next door, the Everetts. They had argued with Clara weeks before about her dog damaging their rose garden. Alice, quietly, fed the rumors. Chapter 3. The Blame Game. The Everetts were arrested. The town was shaken. Despite their protests of innocence, the police found incriminating evidence in their kitchen, evidence Alice had planted the night before Clara's death. The case closed swiftly. Bibury grieved, but life moved on. Alice returned to her daily routine, masking her guilt with floral arrangements and forced smiles. 2 years passed. Chapter 4. Cracks in the Calm. Detective Mara Langley arrived in Bibury to fill in for the town's retiring inspector. Young and meticulous, she reviewed old cases as part of her orientation. Clara Winslow's file caught her attention. Something didn't sit right. The evidence seemed too convenient, the motive flimsy. Mara began asking questions. She spoke to the Everetts, now living with their daughter after being released on probation. She noticed how Alice's name came up often in Clara's circles, how close they had been. Chapter 5. The Journal. Mara discovered that Clara kept a journal, which had never been entered into evidence. Clara's brother found it in a forgotten drawer and handed it over. In it, Clara wrote of Alice's recent mood changes, jealousy, and odd behavior. Mara also uncovered a receipt for a rare type of poison purchased under a false name, but the handwriting matched samples from Alice's flower shop invoices. Chapter 6. The Confrontation. Mara paid Alice a visit. The florist was cordial, but tense. As Mara gently pressed about the past, Alice's facade began to crumble. Her hands trembled. She dropped a teacup. "I loved her," Alice whispered, "but she never saw me. Not really." Chapter 7. Truth. Unearthed a search warrant revealed a hidden box in Alice's attic, containing a vial of poison, a diary detailing her feelings, and a list of steps she took to frame the Everetts. Alice was arrested. The town reeled once more, this time with betrayal. Chapter 8. Aftermath. The Everetts were exonerated, and the town formally apologized. Detective Mara earned the community's respect. Bibury's peace was restored, but not without scars. Alice, Once a beloved neighbor, now sat in a prison cell, her story a cautionary tale whispered by those who once trusted her. Chapter 9. Lessons in lilac Lavender Lane still bloomed with flowers, but the air carried a solemn note. Clara's grave became a place of quiet reflection. Children were told stories about envy, and how even the gentlest smiles can hide the darkest hearts. The poisoned silence of Bibury was broken, but never forgotten,